It is day number 10 of our 30-day yoga challenge. Let's get ready. We've got clean carpet again today, so we can do our down dogs today. Let's get started. Start in a standing position. Let's start with the shoulder rolls today. Up and back, up and back, up and back, and forward and down, forward and down, forward and down. Hands clasped overhead, reaching tall. Up on the toes, up on the toes, up on the toes. Tiny little back bend. Push those hips out front. And release to neutral. Clasp your hands behind you. Open up that chest. Ooh. Release, halfway forward fold, flat back, gazing forward, opening up the lower back and the hamstrings. Remember, your knees don't necessarily have to be completely straight right now. They can be bent a little bit. We're just starting. And swing it to the left. Feel that stretch in the right hip flexor. Maybe straighten that leg now. One straight, one a little bit bent. And through center, swing it over to the right. Straighten that left leg. Feel the pull in your left hip flexor. I need a lot of work on hips today. How about you? And release, coming all the way up. Hands clasped overhead, up on the toes, up on the toes, up on the toes, and twist to the right. Tiny little pulses to the right. Back through center, and twist to the left. Pulses with the arms to the left. And hands overhead one more time. Up on the toes, up on the toes, up on the toes, and full forward fold, dropping the hands, dropping the head. Let the weight of the head and the upper torso decompress your spine. Woo. And take a step to the right, step to the left, and continue on down into our deep, deep squat. Elbows to the inside of the knee, pressing against the inside of the knee, feet flat. And release those hands to the floor, pressing into the floor. Remember, we're starting to work on our crow pose here, so getting some weight in the hands, the palms. Just rock back and forth on that. And release back to our deep squat. Maybe go a little bit deeper. Woo, yeah. Pressing the palms together, opening up the inner thighs with the elbows inside the knees. Great. We're going to drop the hands again. Come down and drop to the knees this time. Ooh, yeah. Hands under shoulders, hips and knees equal. Take a few deep breaths here. Cat-cow. A few times each direction, your own pace. Now drop those hips to the right. Oh, there it is. And drop those hips to the left. Give that nice stretch in the hip flexor. And back through center, a few more cat-cows. And we're going to drop into puppy pose. So get down on those forearms and drop your forehead to the floor, hips raised, your knees are still on the ground. back up. Hands under shoulders, curl those toes under, and pop it up into down dog. Pedal it out, pedal it out. Woo. Hips high to the sky, chest and shoulders reaching for the floor. Pedal it out, see how close to the floor you can get those heels. Each time is a little bit farther. Stretching those hamstrings. And we're going to point that left foot and raise the left foot for our three-legged dog. Remember, keep those hips even, just raise the leg. We're not flipping our dog yet. And release. Pedal it out, pedal it out. You might find that your left heel goes a little bit closer to the floor now. Now point that right foot, raise that right leg. Remember to keep those hips stable, activating the glute. And release. Pedal it out, pedal it out. Oh yeah, there we go. Almost got my heel on the floor that time. Woo! And pressing those hips high to the sky. Ooh, chest and shoulders reaching for the floor. We're going to come forward into our plank. Hang out here for a sec. And drop it down all the way down. Chaturanga to Cobra. Your Cobra can be right here, or the Sphinx, or you can come all the way up, breathing deep into the belly. Keeping those legs zipped together in the back is the key here. It's hard. Activating those glutes, the inner thighs, and the abs. Woo. And release all the way down, right ear to the floor, arms outstretched. Woo, 2 deep breaths. And bend that right leg. Get that left arm back there and grab that, oh, there it is, that right leg. Woo. A little bow twist here. You can prop yourself up on your other elbow if you like for a little support. Concentrating on the left side body and the right quad stretch. So kick that foot back into the heel if you like. Activating those glutes. 2 more breaths here. And release. Ow, and I just kicked the wall. Ow. And all the way down left ear to the floor. Yes, I can injure myself doing yoga. 2 breaths here. And bend that left knee and reach that right hand back. Grab that left foot. Prop yourself up on your left elbow. Feel the pull. Feel that nice stretch in the right side body and the left quad. Nice twist stretch. Kick that foot back into the hand if you like. Raise it up a little bit more like a bow pose. Twisted bow. 2 more breaths here. And release. All the way down. Right ear to the floor again. Woo. And this time bend both knees and reach back with both hands. And true bow pose. Here we go. Your bow might be here, or you might have all the way up onto your hips. You might raise your knees. You might only be 1/4 of an inch up. That's fine. And release. Woo. Left ear to the floor. Woo. center. Let's find our way back up to tabletop. Woo. And open knees. Touch those toes together, and we are in child's pose. Drop the head. Relax. See how close to your heels you can get your sit bones. So you might need to wiggle yourself back or widen your knees. You might need a block. You might need a blanket in between for a buffer, and that's fine too. Two more breaths here. And coming back up. Bring those knees together and sit back on your heels. Your feet are flat. We're stretching the tops of those feet. Stretching the tops the opposite direction we normally use them. And get the blood flowing in a different way. While we're here, we can take a little side bend, drop your left hand to the floor, and bend over to the right, to the left, with your right hand. Try and keep your hips even during this, so that you're really stretching that side body and not lifting the hip. And release to center, arms overhead, stretching tall, gazing back. Of course, if it's too much on your heels at this point, you can come on up out of your heels. Let's do the other side. Let's drop that right hand to the floor and raise that left hand over, stretching over to the right this time. Keeping those hips even. And release. Hands overhead. Ooh, reaching tall. Tiny little back bend. And release. Coming up on your toes. Just turn your toes the other direction. Ooh, that feels good. Sitting back down on those heels. We're stretching those toes out, getting some blood flow in our toes the opposite direction that we normally use them. This is kind of an intense little pose, so a couple of seconds is just peachy. Good. You kind of try and do it a little bit longer each time. If you need to let loose of that pose, don't worry about it. And release. Let's paddle those feet out. And release. Let's come down into an easy seat. Cross those legs in front. We're going to do an ankle knee stack. So get your left leg out there in front. Right knee on top of left ankle. Right ankle on top of left knee. The trick with these is to keep the hips stable, of course. Don't let one hip come up while you're doing these. Stability in the hips. So we want to sit up nice and tall. Let's roll those shoulders one more time, a couple more times. Get your nice position. Flex those feet. I find it's easier if the feet are flexed. You can even hang on to the feet and bring yourself forward just slightly from the hips. So you're tilting from the hips forward, not collapsing. Tilting from the hips. You should be feeling a nice stretch in that right hip area, and also a little bit in the left. And release. Let's stack those legs the other direction. Left ankle on right knee, left knee on right ankle. Flex the toes, get yourself situated, Find your sit bones in there. My hip just popped out of joint. Take a second there. Make sure that you've got your hips even and secure. Grab those toes and hinge from the hip forward. You should feel a nice stretch in the left hip socket. And also you're strengthening that lower back at the same time we're doing these. Just make sure you're leaning forward, pivoting from the hips rather than rounding over. This way we build strength. And release. Slide that left foot out so that our soles of our feet are touching now. We're completing the energy circle. Soles of the feet together, knees down. You can coax your knees down. Pressing your hands on your thighs. Don't ever push on your joints. Push on the meaty part. Pressing those feet together. And again, pivoting from the hip. Lean forward just a little bit, making sure that your sit bones are locked in place. Energy circle complete. Pressing through the soles of those feet. Pressing down with the hands. We're also working the upper arms here. Release. Come into a nice easy seat and find a good spot for your hands to rest. Let's just close our eyes for a minute. A lot of good hip work today, a lot of good twisting today. I really needed that, all except for smacking my foot on the back of the wall, but we'll get over that. All right, close your eyes for just a second. Take a few deep breaths. Two more breaths. And eyes open. Let's get a little bit of motion back. Remember to take a few minutes for yourself every day. Thank you for joining me for yoga today. I will see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. Bye.